What is up, Sumolings? Welcome to another AppSumo product webinar. Excited to have you guys here today. Let's give you a minute to trickle in. I know we got a bunch of you guys waiting in the waiting room. What's up, Deborah, Dee, Igor? How are you guys doing? All right, super excited to get going today. Today, we have Neil here with us to talk about Email CopyDyno. For those of you who don't know, Email CopyDyno is an email creation software that helps you write persuasive emails in minutes, which is incredible. It's a tool that I think all of us could use a lot more of. Staring at that blank page can be really intimidating. I know we've had to go through that a lot in the past, getting going and just kind of staring at your Gmail or staring at your email service provider and trying to figure out what you're going to write, how to connect with your audience, and then on top of that, how to build out those flows. So I'm excited to dive into this with Neil. Before we get going, two pieces of housekeeping. We will be sending out a replay later. So if you miss it or you have to jump out early, don't worry, we'll be shooting that over to you. So as long as you're registered, you'll be getting that. And next, if you have any questions, hit that Q&A box. If you've been here before, you know the drill. You can leave your questions there. After we go through the product walkthrough with Neil, we'll circle back to those, get you taken care of. But without further ado, Neil, thank you for joining us today. Super excited.
Thanks, Chris, and I really appreciate being given the chance to be here. Now, I want to address this thing you said where it's quite difficult to look at a blank screen or, used to be a blank piece of paper. And I think that's been my core issue as well with writing. I'm not a bad writer, but it's just difficult to get started. It's easy once you get in the flow and then you forget to even eat. But, when you actually have to sit down and write a new email or an email sequence, for example, it's just a little bit difficult to get the juices flowing. And what we've tried to do is just make it easy for people to get there. So we don't think that any tool out there will churn out the perfect copy that is perfect for everyone. I mean, it's impossible to convert 100% of the people. Same way it's impossible to impress 100% of the people. But we do think that what Email CopyDyno allows you to do is cut down the time it takes to get your first draft out there. And then after that, you can improve, you can optimize, you can convert it so that it resonates better with your audience. So that's been our core focus with Email CopyDyno, to give people a way to basically do things faster. I mean, it's funny, I think about using computers and using Microsoft Word. We have sped up creation so much, but all the other time that we have now, we spend that even creating more or doing more things. So we're supposed to speed things up so we could go out in the forest and take a walk in the nature, but now we just tend to do more of the same stuff. And, our goal is that if you are in the place where you want to write a sequence, where you want to reconnect with your audience, or you want to sell them a discount offer because you want to generate some cash for yourself, hopefully this is something that will help you do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I remember when I started at AppSumo, I was doing a lot on the email side, and I ended up putting together my version of the AppSumo email Bible. And it was just all a bunch of different prompts or ways to tell stories, ways to do introductions, different call to actions, because it's really difficult. Like you said, kind of starting from scratch. And then you guys take that to a whole nother level, and you don't have to worry about it being, an email that you put together and it seems generic because everyone else is using the same thing. Like you said, it's a rough draft. You get that, you can kind of start there, and then you can infuse your voice and your branding and all of the different things you want to get across without just starting from zero every time. So yeah, I think that's awesome. And I'm sure people are excited to get going. So if you want to turn on your screen share and we can start walking some folks through this.
Sure. And I do want to give credit where credit's due, because Patrick is the one who's the real brain behind scripting everything and bringing it all together. Because one of the nuances about this platform is that it has to take your answers into account and create a sequence based on that. So it's not a simple case of on the back end that is in the software part, is to just answer a few things and we'll kind of tape it together. We do have to think about the relevancy of those answers as well and exactly where they could fit better. And the good thing is that depending on your niche, depending on what kind of email you want to create with this, your responses will be different every time. So if it's okay, I'll jump inside the tool and show you how everything works there. Okay.
Awesome. And I'm going to turn off my video and cool.
Okay, great. So we've got a really simple dashboard here. I think one of the challenges that we had, and I want to address this as well with pricing this for the app, for the Sumo links, was that how should we do stacking? Because everyone does stacking. It's like the cool thing to do these days. But we realized that this doesn't need stacking, because it would be unfair to hide a few things and say you can only unlock them if you pay more, because depending on what your requirements are, you either don't need the software or you need all of it, because you never know which part you may need at one point in time. So we decided on pricing front that we want to make it affordable for people, and we wouldn't want to add stacking in here because truthfully, we don't have server costs. The only cost that we have is more or less Patrick and the copywriter that he works with putting in the time to create these emails and then putting them all into the software. So in that sense, we've minimized our overheads, and that also means that we can offer a really good deal to Sumo links. And the way it works here is that you come into the dashboard and you can click on create email, and you can start creating a new email sequence. We've got 9 different types of sequences at the moment, and there'll be more added over time based on demand, based on what's possible. So for example, if you haven't connected with your list for a while, or if it's a new list, you want to use the list nurturing option to connect with them better. Same way, if you want to run a campaign to sell a discounted offer, this is the particular campaign you want to run. I know a lot of Sumo links, for example, run cold emails, to sign up new clients, turn prospects into clients. And for that, you want to use B2B cold emails. So there are various different email types based on your circumstances. And the thing which sets apart email CopyDyno to everything else is that we also consider tonality. So we fully understand that based on your nature, you may be a bit of an aggressive seller, or maybe you're a soft seller who focuses more on value and education. So based on your own personality, you can pick one of these 2 options and you can customize it as you go forward. So let's say if I was to go for the soft option in this case, I would click on next, and then I have to answer a series of questions. The questions depend entirely on which email type you're using. So if it's, for example, a product launch email type, we need more information there. But if it's a B2B email type, we need less information there, not as much, but we still do. If it's, for example, list nurturing or re-engagement, we don't need as much information there. But all this is information, is things that you are expected to know, because at the end of the day, it's your brand, your personality, your product, your services, whatever it is you're selling. So when you get to this page, we expect that it'll be quite easy to fill in all the answers. But if it is not, you can put in, we have some prompts over here that will help you essentially answer some of these questions. And by the way, when I start typing, there might be a bit of a clacking noise because I have a mechanical keyboard. I apologize for that. But I'm going to go ahead and create this campaign in front of you and show you what the output looks like, and then how you can use it from there. So let's say if this asks, the first question is, what name do you want to use in saving this profile? So we always recommend saving these answers, because you may never know. Maybe you want to do another kind of campaign later with the same answers. So let's call this, let's say if I want to sell copywriting services, let's say if I want to sell email copywriting services, we'll get a bit meta. So we'll call this email copywriting service. Okay, and then your name. So I'm going to put Neil Napier in there. Your tagline. So for example, I'm the CEO of Guivio, so that would be my tagline, but also I'm the co-founder of this platform, Email CopyDyno. So I'm going to put, in this case, let's say co-founder Email CopyDyno. And then my experience level is, this is how it's like your elevator pitch, but more like your skydiving pitch. I mean, you don't have much time when you're skydiving, so you quickly have to say, why you, right? So in this case, for example, I could say I'm an expert 7-figure copywriter. So I could say I'm a seasoned email copywriter. And then position of the sender. So for example, what's your position in the company, which is quite similar to this, but let's say if I'm the owner, right? So in this case, I'm the owner. If I was in support, I could say customer relationship management, and so on. And what's your company name? So our company name in this case is Email CopyDyno. And I'll go with this. So of course, if I have an agency, it'll probably be named something more professional than a dyno. Then we have product service name. So now we're focused more on the product and service. So what is the name of the product or service you want to sell? Now, of course, we're not selling Email CopyDyno in these B2B emails. Instead, we're selling email copywriting services. So I'm just going to call this for now, email copywriting services. Okay, then product or service type. So how can you classify this product or service? It's a service, so it's a done for you service, I would say, because that's my goal, to deliver done for you email copy at the end of the day. And then what does this product or service do? So this product or service is going to help you blank. So this is how you fill in this question. This product or service is going to help you convert more leads, more prospects, or rather, let's say, turn more prospects into recurring customers. Right, turn more prospects into recurring customers, or turn your prospects into recurring customers. The good thing is, even when all these answers are considered and you get an email at the end of it, you can still continue to customize it. Now, benefits of your product or service: those who use our product or service are now able to, and this is where you actually solve a pain point, right? So the pain point is, let's say, oh, I'm not able to get enough sales from my list. So that's the big benefit. So those who use our product or our service are now able to make more sales with the same audience size, or with the same audience. And then result time frame: how long will it take for you to achieve results with your product or service? Let's say 30 days, because I'm going to write an email sequence and they're going to put that in. And then more benefits of your product or service. So if you use our product or service, you will be able to the benefit 2, benefit 3, benefit 4. So you could, in this case, say, if you use our product or service, you will be able to take a back seat and see sales rolling in. And I'm a little bit aggressive, I guess, even though I'm using a softer stance. And then we can have a benefit number 3 as well. If you use the service, you will be able to focus more on prospect acquisition, right? And then if you use our product or service, and finally, you'd be able to enjoy the kind of business you set out to create. Okay, then I'll click next, and I hope it's not too boring showing you the process of this, because I think it's interesting to see how to answer these questions, which some people have also asked who have already purchased email CopyDyno. Now, your receiver's position. So who am I sending this to? So let's assume I'm targeting SaaS founders with this. So people who have founded SaaS companies, and I'm going to say, in this case, I think CEO is all right, because I could be going straight for the bootstrapped company and I'm emailing CEO directly. And the department here in this case is, let's say, still marketing, because in small companies, the CEO is often responsible for marketing as well. And your prospect's current system, so the current system of your prospect, which you want to improve. So what do I want to help you with? And that's with your email marketing, or I could say, in this case, customer acquisition. That's what I'm going to provide as the end benefit to my target audience. Then your prospect's biggest challenge solved by your product. So you probably will be interested in improving the conversion rates from your current emails or from your current campaign. So I'm going to put conversion rates from your campaigns. Yeah, and then more challenges that our product solves. So from my research, I noticed that most SaaS founders are not able to convert more than, let's say, 10% of their trials, paid trials. And this challenge above can be solved by writing better emails that show the direct benefits of your products. Now, there's something to note here as well. I'm saying your directly. So far I haven't really addressed the target, but now I'm saying your. Now, how that actually looks in the email, it could be that it fits seamlessly, or it could be that it doesn't, depending on the placement. But if it doesn't, as I mentioned, it's a draft that you can quickly go in and edit, because we, from software development point of view, cannot control the inputs that you put in here. And it's impossible to customize the whole email based on the inputs, to change the words in the emails. But what you can do then, like I said, is just go in and edit that yourself. So another challenge from my research, I noticed that most SaaS founders are not able to explain the benefits of their products. So, and this challenge above can be solved by simply focusing on one benefit per email, right? So that's what we go with for now. I'm going to click next, and then I'm going to add social proof. So how many clients have your product or service served? You can always change that later. If you don't want to include that, you can always remove that line. And what are your existing clients? So for example, my existing clients are Kyvio, CopyDyno, and let's say another one could be, hypothetically, you're not, but it could be AppSumo. And then recommendations. Name of the first client that recommends you. So I'm going to put Kyvio in this case, and the recommendation testimonial from the client above. So whatever they have said, you can put that in verbatim. So it could be, I love what email CopyDyno has been able to deliver us in a short time. Recommended. All right, and name of the second client that recommends you. So this is information if you want to continue adding. Again, you can do that manually in the emails as well. So name of the second client, I'm going to put, let's say, Patrick's name in this case, and that's it. When you then click on write email sequence, we take all these inputs. It takes, I think, a few seconds. We take all these inputs and we turn that into emails that are pre-written for you, that you can just go in then and either, like I said, reuse as is, or you can edit them. For example, I'm just going to open up Notepad on the side because I'll show you how easy it is then to edit these emails as well. So you can see we deliver 5 emails in this case, and each email is different. Each email has multiple headlines that you can go with. So for example, this headline says, my thoughts about your customer acquisition. And remember, that's customer acquisition is what we said we want to help the business with. Or these are more kind of curiosity driven. I think I can help you improve this area, or you can actually do better in this area. You can change that and say, you can actually do better in customer acquisition, right? So that's up to you to change as well. But the important thing is that we give you, instead of a blank canvas, we give you sort of, oh, it hasn't pasted well. Let me try. Okay. Well, no worries. I think Notepad's been doing that to me. But we give you a canvas to start working with. And when you're happy with it, when you're happy with what it looks like, you can either save the emails or you can export them as well. Or if you want to, if you're not happy with it, you can click on rewrite. And when you do that, we go behind the scenes and we rewrite that email. Now, this is not content spinning, because if you spin content, sometimes it doesn't make sense in the context of this entire email. But rewrite basically means that, hey, we have some templates saved in the backend, and we just bring those to the forefront and give you a new template to work with. Right? So all of this, you can see now we have 6 emails in this case. I don't know why I thought we'd actually have 5, but hey, there's a bonus email. But you can go through all these emails and you can check them out. And like I said, once you're happy, you can save them and you can export them out as well. Let me go back to email 1. Again, slow to load. There we go. Yeah. So if I click on export now, I can, for now, export that as PDF. I think some people have asked so that they want the emails to be exported as a Word document as well. We'll check that out, what's possible there. But essentially, this is what email CopyDyno can do for you. And like I said, if I had sit down to write these emails and talk about basically, writing 5 or 6 emails, it would take me a good few hours, and that's with a clear head. So yeah. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, man, that all looks amazing. I love it.
Good. So you also, I think I mentioned this, but you also have the option to save your answers so that you can reuse them. So for example, if I go back here, these are some of the answers that have been saved. So this is the one I was working on right now. You can either edit this, just the name of it, or if you click on edit template, you can click on this, and then you can choose one of the other options as well. So if instead of now B2B cold emails, you want to choose re-engagement, you can do that as well. But of course, now the premise changes, so the questions change as well. And you may have to answer some questions now that you didn't do before. But this way, we are also able to build a profile for you for a product or service. And this is really handy for someone who struggles with building a long-term customer journey. And this is something I always talk about, where, for example, if you get a new lead and you mail them for the first 7 days, but then after that, you don't know what to send them. You're like totally confused. Like, I don't know what I should send them next time. I should just maybe default to broadcast. What you can do instead is you can build a series of these sequences, and you can schedule them out one after the other. So you can use something like ActiveCampaign, or I think even the tool that you launched recently, AppSumo launched the email marketing tool, SendFox, right? So you can use something like SendFox, and you can create sequences of emails where someone gets one sequence of email, and once when that ends, they get automatically moved into another, unless they've purchased. If they have, you can move them into a welcome sequence or a thank you sequence, different thing. But which also reminds me, we do have some integrations available, but actually pushing out an email to an autoresponder is not the same as pushing out a lead to an autoresponder, because most autoresponders have prepared for capturing lead from other places or sending information about a lead. But when it comes to actually sending an entire email to an autoresponder, not many have the capability of that. So for now, for most autoresponders that are not here, you do have to use copy and paste, which is the most traditional method. Alternatively, with these ones, you can connect with them, but do understand that something like Lemlist and Snovia is in beta, because we are working with them to make sure that they can actually receive our emails and then put them into a sequence and not just a campaign. But that's where we are with integrations. And I know there have been a lot of requests, but until the autoresponders themselves actually allow us to do that, there's not much we can do, unfortunately. But where possible, just copy and paste, and I think that works just as well. Yep.
Awesome. Any other things you wanted to go over, or are you just about wrapped up?
I think I'm just about wrapped up. So here's the thing about email CopyDyno, which is, I think it's actually a good thing, because it's not a complex all-in-one tool that will keep you busy for hours on end. This is the kind of tool where you just go in, you quickly do the thing, get out, and you're done. Like, that's all you need to do. I think we just didn't want to sell a tool or give a tool to people where it would take them hours and hours to start using, or it would consume their whole day. I mean, this is as good an automation as it can get, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's awesome. There's no need to add bells and whistles if they don't add a ton of value to what you're actually providing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Absolutely. One thing I think would be good before we dive into questions is if you would navigate over to the AppSumo deal page and kind of go over what the deal actually includes and what the different tiers are.
Absolutely. So I also want to say this up front, because early on when we went live, so we have two plans for email CopyDyno right now that are available on the website. I think I can just quickly check as well. CopyDyno. There we go. And I'll show you the roadmap as well. It's a good point that we can discuss too. So we have two plans at the moment for email CopyDyno, and we don't intend to add another one, because I think, again, it's a simple enough tool. What we can do here, which will be a big addition, will be like new emails. But here's the thing. We thought about what we can give to Sumo Links as a really good deal. Initially, people had said, oh, are you going to add more features to it? Email CopyDyno doesn't need new features as such. It needs integrations. It needs, or could use, more emails added to it. It could use more turns, for example, if we decide to, if you feel that it's necessary to add them. It doesn't need new features, because I think features is a really bad word, which people think more features means like it's going to be developed all the time. This is the kind of tool which needs more content rather than needing more tabs for you to click in. Our goal isn't to keep you in here for too long. Our goal is to give you what you need in an instant, and you're off to go actually, making money and doing things that you need to do. So originally, people had said to me, are you going to continue to develop this tool? Well, yes, in the sense that we're going to continue adding more content, but beyond that, we will, improve the UI and whatever if people deem it necessary. But we've tried to make this deal so that it's an absolute no-brainer for anyone to get. So back to point, we have two different, let me just pause this. Okay, we have two different plans over here. So we have the basic and premium plan, and all Sumo Links get the premium plan, which includes any new content added. For example, we'll be getting the page changed as well. When we add new type of email variations as well, so other than soft and aggressive, if we add ultra soft or super aggressive, you get those as well. That's the email tone options. And one of the things that Patrick, for example, is working on as well is soap opera sequences, which Andre Chaperon made famous with his copywriting. So once that's done, you get that as well. I think there've been more requests for email sequences to tell people when a new blog post has been made. We'll get that added as well. So we're open to, and we are listening to feedback from people about what new kind of emails they would like to see. And we are slowly kind of working to get them added in, mostly after launch, not at this stage, because I think right now we're just focused on supporting the new customers coming in. So you get integration to any and all autoresponders that we can integrate with. You get downloadable PDF sequences. I think if and when we can add the Word download or any other download as well, you'll get that as well.
I saw some questions. What are the downloadable PDF sequences? Are those just email sequences that you can download as the PDF?
Yeah. So let's say if you had a team member, a virtual assistant who is responsible for queuing up your emails, you could just download this PDF and you can give it to them. You can email it to them and say, hey, can you please schedule all these into the autoresponder? That's basically what it is.
Got it. Great.
Yeah. So you get that as well. And then let's go back here. Sorry. Okay. Then you also get, like I said, there are two different variations. So when you click rewrite, we basically have a variation in the backend that we bring in to replace what's currently on screen. We have two of those. You get two, but in future, if we decide to add more, you'll get that as well. I mean, that's essentially just presenting an email in a new way, more or less, right? But like I said, when that becomes available, you get that as well. So what I want to emphasize here is that originally, when we brought out Email CopyDyno, we ourselves thought that, okay, beyond adding more content and this and that, what else could we add to it? But we don't want to restrict Sumo Links from getting anything within Email CopyDyno that comes up next. So if you're watching this, just know that anytime we add anything new to Email CopyDyno, you get access to that as well.
Awesome. Yeah, it's a great deal. It's a super cool tool, just again, because of its simplicity. It really gives you what you need to do. I mean, a couple of years ago, I bought something that was similar to like this, that was for building like funnel scripts and things like that. And it was really expensive. And this is a great deal it's a great product. And for people who are looking to do that, you're looking to set up all these things, especially if you're kind of a smaller team or you're doing this for other companies and they want you to help set up their emails, having that place to start and having that framework and knowing what that sequence looks like, then being able to go through and edit it, it's a really slick tool. I think it's great. And I'm very, very glad you guys are able to bring this to the Simulink community.
No, I'm happy. And I'll also tell you this as well. I've got nothing against the competition. I think it's good to have more competition because that pushes us to do better. But Patrick's vision in this case, the big differentiator with Email CopyDyno compared to every other tool is that Patrick really wanted to infuse or help people infuse their personality into it. Because not everyone's an aggressive seller. Not everyone's a soft seller. People do things differently. And this is one key feature that we have. I mean, I guess you could call that USP, which I haven't seen any other tool out there present to its audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's excellent. And you said you wanted to go over some of the roadmap features?
Oh, yes,
do you have a
absolutely.
Public roadmap?
Yes, we do. So let me open that up as well. And again, roadmap is being developed as we hear back from people and we get more feedback. And Patrick is updating this, I think, on weekly basis at the moment. So something that people pointed out early on in the AppSumo reviews, which was really handy, by the way, was that in many places inside the emails that were created, the grammar could be improved. Now, I do admit that in some places it could, and we actually hired a native copywriter, a native English speaker, because I didn't have time to go through all of these emails again in a very short time. So we have now improved all the emails within the platform. I mean, you may still see some issues that arise because of how you've answered the question and how our formatting is. But like I said, that can be easily changed as long as you're infusing your voice into it. So that can be fixed easily. Beyond that, we have gone through every email in the system and we have improved the language, the nuances, so that now the content reads more as if a native speaker would have written it. So that's the first thing that we have actually accomplished pretty quickly, I must say, and credit to Patrick and our proofreader for that. Then one thing that we are constantly looking at is new autoresponder integrations. As and when it comes up, we would like to integrate with as many as possible because this is not something Zapier can handle. But the challenge still lies with the availability of the needed API functions in these autoresponders. So, if you're one of our customers or if you want to be, all we want you to do is go hassle these autoresponders and make sure they know that they need to improve the API so that we can push out these emails to them. Then we are also planning to add new email types and variations. So for example, blog post sequences, pre-launch email sequences, soap opera sequences, they're all being planned and added in as well. I can't say how long it will actually take for Patrick to do each one, but I know that it requires writing all the emails first and then kind of reverse engineering them into these questions and such. So easily one sequence could take a month or more. I'm being very conservative here, if Patrick isn't doing too much other stuff. But that's our goal. We want to make this the most comprehensive email copywriting tool out there. So we'll continue to add more email types to this as well. Then one of the features that's been requested quite a lot is custom email creation. This is a little bit difficult to accomplish in my opinion because people actually want to be able to set up their own questions and their own sort of templates at the end of it. They almost want their own email copy builder, right? It's a little bit harder to accomplish, but we have put it down and we'll see what's feasible here. And when possible, we'll aim to do that. Because it's not just the development resources involved here, it's actually the workflow as well, which is quite different to how the tool is laid out at the moment. Because, if you think like this, we sold you a tool where you can watch films all the time. And now you say, I want to make my own film as well. So it's a little bit different thing that we will now have to do with the tool, but it's a challenge, which Patrick says he wants to take head on. So hopefully as soon as we can, we'll get to that as well. Then, we'll over time make changes to UI as well, make it more modern with time based on feedback from people, as well as add a new feature which will allow users to collaborate with the team members. So right now you can only export an email or sequence of emails, but hopefully in time we can also provide a feature where you can actually let your users log in as well, and they can come in, let your team log in, and they can come in and edit those emails as well. We have a couple of known bugs that we're looking into as well at the moment. So just know that we don't take feedback lightly. We're very customer driven, so we want to make sure that this tool is something that people love to use every week, if not every day.
Awesome. Very cool. All right, let's hit on some of the questions that some folks brought up. Why are those not pulling up for me? 1 second here.
Sure.
There they are. All right. Where did I just see that? Okay, Johnny was asking, so I noticed on the screen when you were showing the email sequences, there were 6 emails in that sequence. What is the maximum number you can create in one sequence? Is it 6 emails?
I think, and maybe Patrick can answer that better than I can in chat, but I do believe that typically you see 5, but in some cases where we find it's necessary to continue a story, there might be 6 or 7, but I do think 5 is a norm with most of the sequences. And really, I feel that you don't need to extend the sequence if it's not necessary. It's like copywriting. There's no correct answer to whether you should use short copy or long copy. Just use the right amount of copy that you need.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Awesome. All right. The next one, is there any machine learning involved while creating the email sequence? Because down the line, the same content would be getting repeated. How are you going to add new email content style?
It's a good question. So the way this tool has been built right now, all the content is manually created and added in. Machine learning, unfortunately, is not something that Patrick or even myself are good with right now. We haven't honestly even looked into it. I know John Benson, for example, is doing one big tool, which is like a really massive copywriting tool, but that'll be a few $1,000s when it comes out. So it's not an easy thing. Really, you're asking a couple of marketers to do PhD level development, which, it's really, I think it'd be hard to commit to it. So what we can commit to, though, is adding new types of emails so you have different emails to use over time.
Yeah. Awesome. Great. See some questions. Do you work with, they're asking about languages, French, German, where is that on your roadmap, being able to, if at all, support other languages?
It's a tough one. I speak a little bit of German. I speak or understand a little bit of Spanish because I was dating a Spanish girl once. But the thing is that it's, as a copywriter, it's hard enough to write copy in English. For us, it's mostly impossible to write sales copy or email copy in German, French, Spanish, other languages. And I'll be very honest as well, it's financially not at all possible to hire a Spanish copywriter to write 200 emails, because right now that's how many emails are in the system, 200 emails. That would just cost a ton. So realistically, we don't have the capability in-house to eventually do Spanish, French, German, Italian, or other kind of emails. All we can recommend to you is to use a translator, but make sure that emails that you get are coherent. That's the most important thing I can tell you, is make sure that they're coherent. I mean, of course, we could also plug in Google Translate there, but you know how bad that can be with emails, because the complete context gets lost.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. All right. That is just about all the questions that I'm seeing here. But before we sign off, I'd love to know what features or things on the roadmap are you most excited about?
Me personally, I mean, I'll tell you this. If Patrick is able to accomplish this, I would love to see the custom email creation, because it's something we talked about before as well. And Patrick said, that would require like a change in architecture. So maybe one day we kind of are able to pin down and see how we can change that architecture, but that'd be great. But I think for me, what I would really like to see as well is new email types and variations, especially the soap opera sequence, which I'd say is a more realistic upcoming feature, because that's something that I know works really well when you spend time nurturing leads, and I think a soap opera sequence would be a good one for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very cool. Well, Neil and Patrick, I know you're the silent observer in here helping out in the chat. Thank you both for bringing this deal to AppSumo and for hopping on this webinar and going through this walkthrough. It's super helpful. For all the Sumolings on here, you can check out Email CopyDyno on AppSumo. And yeah, it's a great tool. Just $39 to pick it up for lifetime access. Super cool. And again, everything's backed by the AppSumo 60-day guarantee. So feel free to get it, play around with it, see what emails you can create, see what response that'll generate from your audiences, and let us know. And if you have any questions afterwards, you can leave them on the AppSumo deal page. You can write into our team, and I'm sure you can also hit up the Email CopyDyno team as well. Before we sign off, I want to give you the last words, Neil. Anything you want to say to folks?
Sure. Yeah, I think, like I said early on, I don't wish to take credit for a lot of work that's been done here. I think it's all Patrick, and he's put in his heart and soul into this for the last 9 months. And he has this big vision of creating a tool that really is one of the best in the market for when it comes to writing emails. And I'm excited about seeing him accomplish that. My role is mostly advisory, and I'm looking forward to him helping a ton of people by doing that as well.
Awesome. Great. Well, thank you, Neil. Thank you very much, Patrick. We appreciate you both. We're very grateful for this. And we'll be talking to you guys soon. Sumolinks, thank you for joining us today. We'll see you guys on the next one. Now go check out Email CopyDyno. Let us know what you think. And once again, Neil, Patrick, thank you guys. Take care. We'll talk soon.